The galaxy had never seen humans like this before. For centuries, humanity had spread among the stars, colonizing worlds that had once been uninhabitable, carving out a place for themselves in systems filled with alien life. They had traded, explored, and fought for survival, but always with caution, knowing that the universe was full of dangers far beyond what a single planet could teach them. Then the message arrived. It came from the Xerath Collective, an alliance of alien empires whose fleets and armies spanned dozens of star systems. The transmission was simple, almost chilling in its clarity. Humanity must pay tribute to the collective or face total destruction. The message contained no threats in words alone, but the images that accompanied it were terrifying. Worlds burning under plasma bombardments, cities crumbling under alien siege machines, and the vast fleets of the Xerath hovering like a dark cloud over human colonies. The leaders of Earth and the colonies convened on Prometheus Haven, the largest orbital station humanity had ever built. It hung in space like a city-sized jewel, glittering with lights and the motion of thousands of ships docked at its ports. Inside, diplomats, generals, scientists, and political leaders filled the council chamber, their faces tense, shadows falling across weary expressions. Holographic displays hovered over the central table, showing maps of human colonies and Xerath fleet positions, all linked with predictive models of what would happen if humanity did not comply. Panic and fear filled the room like static electricity. Some suggested immediate compliance, arguing that survival was more important than pride or independence. Paying the tribute would be a heavy burden, but it would prevent the deaths of billions. Others argued the opposite. Humanity had fought for freedom and would not bow to alien masters. Even if it meant risking annihilation, the alternative, slavery, was unacceptable. Amid the chaos, a young strategist named Mara Venn spoke up. She was known for her unconventional thinking, and her calm voice cut through the noise. "We are making a mistake by overthinking this. The Xerath expect fear. They expect a long debate and hesitation. But we are not like any other species. We are human, and we have survived impossible odds before. We need to show them that they cannot intimidate us." Her words sparked murmurs of agreement and confusion. Could a single species truly defy a coalition of empires with such vast power? The idea was audacious, but there was something in Mara's tone that commanded attention. She continued, "We do not negotiate, we do not beg, and we do not submit. We respond in a way they will never expect. One word that carries the weight of every human life, every struggle, every world we have ever defended. One word that tells them we are not afraid." The council debated fiercely. Some thought the idea reckless. How could a single word convey resistance to an empire that measured strength in fleets and armies? How could a species so young in galactic terms hope to survive? But Mara reminded them of humanity's history, the countless wars fought on Earth, the courage that had carried humans through centuries of hardships, and the ability to adapt, improvise, and survive when all odds seemed against them. Finally, after hours of debate, they agreed. The word would be simple, undeniable, and impossible to misinterpret. No. The council authorized the transmission, and the word flashed across communications channels, reaching every corner of human space and beyond. The reaction was immediate. The Xerath Collective's intelligence networks, considered flawless, struggled to comprehend the audacity. Reports came back in confusion. Why would a primitive species barely a century into interstellar expansion respond with such boldness? Their analysts ran simulations, checked the data, and recalculated probabilities, but the answer remained the same. Humans had said no, and they meant it. Mara Venn and the council watched as alien envoys scrambled, debating what action to take next. Some feared retaliation, while others wondered if this species could be reasoned with. The word had created uncertainty, something the Xerath had rarely experienced. Humanity had done something no one expected. They had turned fear into leverage. But humans did not rely on shock alone. While the galaxy whispered about their audacity, fleets and defenses were mobilized, ships were readied, weapons systems upgraded, and strategic plans laid out for every eventuality. Scientists worked tirelessly on experimental technology, from advanced shields to quantum communications, ensuring that humanity would be prepared if the Xerath chose to strike. Colonies on distant planets felt the weight of history pressing down on them. In the mining towns of Alpha Centauri, engineers accelerated production of warships. On the agricultural worlds of Proxima, farmers learned to construct improvised defense networks. Humanity's response was not just military, it was cultural, psychological, and total. Every human being became part of the effort, a living symbol of defiance against an empire that had never encountered such determination. Meanwhile, the Zerath Collective convened its own council. The word no echoed through their chambers, and alien leaders struggled to understand the human psyche. To them, no species had ever refused tribute without showing fear. The concept of a species valuing pride, courage, and freedom over survival was alien in every sense of the word. Some advocated immediate attack, others recommended negotiation, but none could fully anticipate the humans' next move. As tensions rose, human fleets began covert operations, small strike teams moving through alien-controlled space. They tested enemy defenses, gathered intelligence, and displayed unpredictable maneuvers that challenged Zerath assumptions. Every encounter, no matter how small, demonstrated that humanity would not be defeated by intimidation. Mara walked through Prometheus Haven, observing the preparations. She saw young cadets training relentlessly, engineers working on advanced ships and scientists monitoring alien signals for clues to the Zerath plans. Every corner of the station thrummed with purpose and courage. She knew that the word no was more than a message. It was a promise, a declaration that humanity would not surrender. The first confrontation came in the form of a scouting fleet. The Zerath sent a small armada toward the outer colonies, expecting to intimidate humans into submission. Instead, they encountered human ships that were clever, fast, and unpredictable. Humans used every advantage their technology and creativity could provide, outmaneuvering the alien ships in ways that confounded their enemies. News of these encounters spread quickly. Other species in the galaxy, watching from afar, began to take notice. The stories of human courage, ingenuity, and defiance traveled faster than any fleet. Aliens who had once dismissed humans as primitive now questioned whether this species was something entirely different, capable of surviving against impossible odds. Even within the Zerath ranks, doubt began to grow. Their commanders had never faced an opponent who acted so boldly, so strategically, and so without fear. The word no had become a symbol of resistance, a psychological weapon more powerful than any fleet. For the first time, the Zerath were unsure how to proceed, and that uncertainty gave humanity a precious advantage. As Part 1 drew to a close, humanity stood united. They were not just defending planets or colonies, they were defending the idea of freedom itself. Each person, from the youngest cadet to the oldest diplomat, understood the stakes. The word no had set the galaxy ablaze with attention and disbelief, and humanity was ready to back it with action. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine not just the fate of human colonies, but the respect and recognition of humanity across the stars. In the quiet moments, Mara looked out from the observation deck of Prometheus Haven at the stars beyond. Each point of light represented a world, a potential ally or a threat. Humanity's message had been simple, but its meaning was profound. They had chosen to stand, to fight, and to refuse domination, and in that decision lay the true strength of a species that had never known the limits of its courage. The galaxy had been shaken by a single word. The question now was whether humanity could survive the storm it had dared to provoke. The galaxy was still reeling from humanity's bold answer. The word no had echoed across star systems, a single syllable that carried defiance, courage, and unyielding will. For the first time, alien civilizations questioned whether humans were merely another young, reckless species, or something far more dangerous. The Zerath Collective had not taken the refusal lightly. Their fleets, immense and armed with technology far beyond human designs, moved toward the outer colonies with the intent to enforce tribute by force. Yet humanity was not waiting to be crushed. Human commanders had spent days preparing for this very moment, using every advantage of cunning, technology, and sheer unpredictability. The first clash occurred near the edge of the Tau Ceti system. A Zerath scouting fleet advanced, expecting to intimidate the colonies with their size and firepower. But humans had anticipated their path. Holographic decoys drew the Zerath into ambushes, while cloaked strike ships attacked the flanks of their formation. Alien commanders, accustomed to immediate obedience from weaker species, found themselves outmaneuvered at every turn. Mara Venn, now leading one of the fleet divisions, watched the battle unfold from the bridge of the flagship Resolute. Her eyes were sharp, analyzing enemy movements, predicting responses, and issuing commands that leveraged every advantage. "Divide and isolate," she said to her officers. "Force them to make mistakes. We will not match their power, but we will outthink it." The humans did not just fight. They confused and unnerved the Zirath. Warp drives allowed rapid repositioning, AI systems predicted enemy strategies, and human pilots used daring maneuvers that alien algorithms could not fully comprehend. Every victory, no matter how small, spread hope and confidence through human ranks and colonies. On Proxima Minor, the agricultural colonies converted farmland into improvised defensive positions. Mines were hidden beneath the surface, and local ships were fitted with stealth modifications. Even civilians contributed, using ingenuity to support fleets, repair ships, and relay intelligence. The humans demonstrated an adaptability that no one in the galaxy had expected. Meanwhile, the Zirath Collective convened its leaders in a towering orbital station over their homeworld. "These humans, they are not afraid," one commander admitted. "They are reckless, but more cunning than we calculated. They do not fight like any species we know." Another suggested negotiation, but pride and protocol prevented them from lowering their demand. The word "no" had shaken their confidence, yet their egos demanded a show of power. Back in human space, Mara's fleet joined forces with allied human colonies in a coordinated offensive. The goal was not just defense, it was to force the Zirath into underestimating humanity, to use the aliens' own arrogance against them. Small, fast ships struck supply lines, disabled communication satellites, and sabotaged key warp gates. The humans fought not with overwhelming strength, but with unpredictable tactics that the Zirath could not counter. The galaxy watched in awe as stories of human courage spread. Other species, once dominated by the Zirath, began sending observers and envoys quietly admiring humanity's audacity. The humans' success was not just military, it was psychological warfare. Every alien ship that retreated, every fleet that failed to anticipate a human strategy, amplified the legend of a species that refused to kneel. The final confrontation came near the Sol system itself. The Zirath had assembled a massive fleet, confident that their superiority in size and technology would finally compel humanity to surrender. They underestimated the humans' ability to unite and coordinate across vast distances. Human fleets, small but highly organized, converged from multiple systems, moving faster and striking harder than the Zirath expected. The battle began with sudden attacks on the outer edges of the Zirath formation. Humans targeted key command ships, disabling communication arrays and forcing confusion among the alien ranks. Mara directed the operations with precision, anticipating every maneuver. "Hold your position and exploit their mistakes," she commanded. "We are not just fighting ships. We are fighting their belief that we are weak." In space above Mars, a squadron of human pilots used daring maneuvers to penetrate the heart of the Zirath fleet. Cloaked drones carried electronic disruptors that jammed alien sensors, while plasma torpedoes disabled their engines. Every human ship that struck then pulled back before the Zirath could retaliate. The aliens' confidence faltered as they realized that each engagement favored humans in unexpected ways. Human ingenuity extended beyond ships. Scientists on Earth deployed quantum communication jammers and adaptive AI systems that anticipated enemy attacks. Colonies acted as relay points, feeding real-time intelligence to fleets and coordinating strikes that seemed impossible for a species with limited numbers compared to the Zirath. Humans fought with a combination of courage, cleverness, and unity, proving that raw power was not always the deciding factor. As the battle raged, Mara led the final maneuver. A concentrated strike targeted the flagship of the Zirath Collective, the Dread Sovereign. Using coordinated attacks from multiple fleets, humans disabled its shields and disrupted its energy grid. The alien flagship was immobilized, forced to retreat, and its fleet scattered in confusion. Humanity had achieved the impossible. They had defeated a superior force without surrendering or begging for mercy. News of the victory spread like wildfire. Across the galaxy, other civilizations took notice. The humans who had been seen as young, reckless, and primitive were now viewed with respect and caution. The word "no" had become a rallying cry, a symbol of courage that transcended species. It was a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, a determined species could survive resist, and triumph. After the battle, human fleets returned to their home systems to repair and regroup. Colonies celebrated not just their survival, but the recognition that humanity had changed the balance of power in the galaxy. Diplomats worked to solidify alliances with other species who had witnessed the Zirath's failure, ensuring that humanity would never again be treated as a subordinate civilization. Mara Ven walked among the crew of the Resolute, observing the tired but triumphant faces of those who had risked everything. She understood that the battle was not just won with weapons, but with human determination, creativity, and unity. Every ship, every colonist, every pilot had contributed to proving that humans were not to be underestimated. In the council chambers of the Zirath Collective, alien leaders struggled to comprehend the outcome. Their fleets had been scattered, their demands rejected, and their pride wounded. Some whispered of negotiating, others of regrouping, but all understood that humanity had earned a place in the galaxy that could not be ignored. The simple defiance of one species had shifted the perception of power and respect across the stars. Back on Prometheus Haven, Mara looked out at the endless expanse of space. The stars shone brightly, each one a world of possibility, a reminder of humanity's place in the cosmos. The word no had echoed across the galaxy, and with it humanity had declared that they would not be intimidated, enslaved, or defeated. They had shown that courage, intelligence, and unity were more powerful than size or technology alone. As humans rebuilt, strengthened, and prepared for whatever came next, the galaxy began to speak a new language of respect. Alliances shifted, old empires reconsidered their approach, and smaller civilizations looked to humanity as a symbol of hope. The audacity of a single word had created a legend, one that would be remembered for generations. The story of humanity's defiance, beginning with a single syllable, spread far beyond the systems they had fought to defend. Humans had not only survived, they had changed the rules of the galaxy. And as Mara watched the stars, she knew this was only the beginning. Humanity would continue to grow, explore, and thrive, guided by the courage that had been declared in one word. No. The galaxy had been shaken, and in that shaking, humans had found their true strength. They had shown that the heart of a species, united and unafraid, could stand against even the most powerful forces in existence. Humanity had proven that survival was not enough. They would shape the future of the stars on their own terms. And in the quiet of space, as stars gleamed and colonies thrived, the message was clear to all who dared to challenge them. Humans were not to be underestimated, and one word had changed everything.